A federal judge permanently ordering the state's prison system to continue providing hormone treatments to transgender prisoners in the state planning to appeal. Correspondent Carolyn Ryan live in Atlanta with more on this ruling. Carolyn, good morning.
Hi, Sean. Good to see you. As you can imagine, the state plans to appeal this Biden judge's ruling. In fact, the Republican Attorney General here, Chris Carr, has called it absurd, and he vows that the state is going to fight this all the way to the Supreme Court. But let me back up and tell you how we got here. So the Georgia legislature passed Senate Bill 185 earlier this year, which bans the use of state money to pay for hormone replacement therapy or gender transition surgery. It was a hugely contentious issue at the time, with Democrats walking out of their chamber to boycott the final vote. You can see that there. They called it, quote, hate-filled legislation that was unconstitutional. Nonetheless, it passed, and Governor Kemp signed it into law in May. Well, that triggered a lawsuit brought by the Center for Constitutional Rights on behalf of transgender inmates in Georgia. So Biden appointed U.S. District Judge Victoria Calvert sided with the transgender inmates and issued a preliminary order back in September blocking the law. And just last week, the permanent order was issued. Now, Judge Calvert ruling that the portion of the new state law that denies hormone therapy specifically to inmates, well, it violates their protection against cruel and unusual punishment under the 8th Amendment. So you may be wondering, well, how big of an issue is this, really? How many transgender inmates are in custody in Georgia? Well, according to the Associated Press, as of this summer, prison officials counted more than 340 inmates who had been diagnosed with gender dysphoria, with 107 inmates receiving hormone therapy. So where does this all go from here? Well, it may very well end up in the Supreme Court, which you may recall just a few months ago, back in June, upheld Tennessee's ban on gender-affirming care for minors. So not exactly the same issue. We're talking about inmates. Tennessee was talking about minors. But the state of Georgia, nonetheless, are hopeful that that Supreme Court ruling bodes well for its case here in Georgia, should it reach that point. But, Sean, while all of this plays out in court, thanks to this judge, this district judge, the Department of Corrections, they've been ordered to go ahead and reinstate this hormone replacement therapy for transgender inmates. So that will continue here in Georgia as all of this continues to play out in the courts, Sean.
Carolyn Ryan reporting live for us. Carolyn, thank you. Good to see you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is NEWSMAX. It's real news for real people.